Good to see you, everyone. My name is Robbie Howell. I am a game designer specializing in narrative storytelling games, and today I cordially invite you to join me for a little bit of light improvised world building. If you'd like to know more about what this is and what my process is, please check out this video there-ish. And let's jump right into it. Today our topic is going to be religion. We're going to be creating a religion for a fictional or fantasy world. How will we do it? Focus words. How long will it take? 10 minutes. Let's begin with our random word generator. As always, I will be taking 5 focus words, generating now. Push, grant, birds, willing, and health. I'm already getting a couple ideas here. All right, and with our focus words lined up, let's go to the old timer. World building start in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Alrighty, so what am I seeing here? Well, there's a couple of things that work well. Religion is trying to bring people comfort and meaning, and there's a number of things here that I'm seeing, namely grant, willing, and health, that all kind of lead towards that theme anyways. Birds and push both have, in my mind, to deal with height and altitude. Push as in being pushed off of a great height, birds because they fly there. I want to have birds be a good thing, especially because I see, grant and willing and health. Those are all positive words. If it was like, evil and death, then I would make birds an antagonist here. Since they're a good subject among the words I have, I'm going to have them be a central point of the religion here. Let's start with all birds sacred, certain kinds. And push and willing gives me the idea of leaps of faith. People jumping off cliffs. Yeah, the idea being that they'd be saved somehow before they pancaked. Or maybe it could be a way of determining whether someone has a good heart. There's possibilities there. This one is coming really, really easily to me. I kind of feel like these focus words were too easy. But let's see if we can get something really in-depth from it. Well, now that we have a little bit of a brainstorm down, just going off of my baseline free associations, I'm going to put a couple of more specific categories here. Let's start with, we can do the normal, who, what, where, when crap, but since this is fantasy, I'd like to be a little bit more specific. Religions need a good origin myth, and so I think that instead of just saying what, let's do origin myth here. And I think a good way of saying it could be something along the lines of birds as angels, birds being representatives of the divine. Birds have to do with clouds. Man, I'm getting lost in the details here. Origin myth. Mankind built from clouds. Let's change that to all life. So normally, one of the issues that you get with high mountain civilizations is oxygen is low, it's frickin' cold, and the land is crap. So we have to figure out how to solve that for these people. Let's say high oxygen / warm world. Sea level is, how would I describe this? Like, the idea that sea level is so hot and cloying and thick. I like cloying. That high mountains are actually ideal for human life. I like that. So, Boons, what do these leaps of faith do? Or instead of, let's say, practices. we'll say the main one is leaping from cliffs, coming of age, determining justice, proving devotion, and seeking aid/healing. If the user, if the subject is worthy, birds will magically save them from the fall, and even conveying some magic like healing illnesses or the like. So why do people not just jump all the time? So why not all the time? Well, need birds. That's no doubt. Maybe you need some sort of divine sign. That's kind of arbitrary, though. You want something that people can be in charge of. Maybe need to sacrifice / tribute to the birds and divine couple. Burnt offerings are a classic for world religions because the idea is you're turning something to smoke that rises into the heavens and becomes part of the clouds. Obviously, like literally feeding birds. Maybe birdhouses and nesting boxes. So you're like providing them home. Nesting boxes, nesting materials. So they would have a very bird integrated society. Oh, crud. We have 45 seconds left. I'm pretty happy with a lot of this. I don't know how much more time I have for any of the other things I would like to do. But we're going to try one more thing. Name. When I think of high mountains, I automatically think of like the Inca or maybe crud. The Nepalese Gurkhas, that's the one. Or Sherpas. 10 seconds. Can I come up with a name? For the religion, not the people. Asprilati. That sounds nice. And done. Bam. There we go. Let's take a look at what we have here. So we have a religion revolving around the clouds and birds, with birds being representatives of the gods who formed all life from the clouds. And the central practices involve leaping from cliffs, assuming that you have curried the favor of the birds and clouds themselves and you are pure of heart. This is cool. I actually like this a lot, and my reasons for liking it is that I can see this religion being able to be integrated effectively into a story or a game without dominating it or requiring too much time to go into the details of, explaining how it works. Like, those sort of religions and other cultural phenomena can be really great in storytelling, but if you have to take an entire chunk or passage just to explain enough context to make people be able to interact with it, it's usually not going to work unless you are catering to a specific audience who likes that sort of thing. So this one is nice and simple. Yeah, they worship birds and clouds and they jump off cliffs. I love that. That's very good as an elevator pitch for this particular religion. Now that we have this, I'm going to go see what I can do about finding a couple of cool images, and I will be back with you shortly. Alrighty, friends, after a frantic 15 minutes of Googling, I found a couple of images that I think are nice and representative of what I'm going for with this bit of world building. First of all, the setting. Cliffs and sky and clouds are top of the line for me in terms of this particular location. And location is extremely important for a religion, as it is much of what informs how a religion develops and what a given people focus on. And as you can see, we have these gorgeous soaring skylines, these wonderful cracked fantasy landscapes. This artwork is honestly more than a little bit spectacular. And over here we have another set of sheer cliffs with these lovely little human figures dotted on top looking out in wonder. I tried to get a few that had birds flying in them, especially leading into some of these ones down here. it segues nicely into the types of birds that might populate this landscape, that might inform what the people worship. Cranes were some of the first ones to jump to my mind, but I could see raptors working as well, and other forms of cyniforms, which include swans and similar. I love them situated against these soaring backdrops. And I threw in this one of an eagle rider because it struck me as quite possible that even though the religion holds birds as sacred, they may still integrate them into society as companions, though I don't think they'd go so far as to treat them as beasts of burden. Lastly, so the locations. I found these two gorgeous pieces of fantasy artwork that I think show it off quite nicely. The focus on hot air balloons and windmills I thought was really nice, as is the kind of blocky and fantasy-ish architecture with tons of bridges and link-ups between different cliffs and outcroppings. I thought that maybe the windmills could serve as some sort of religious center or prayer site. I couldn't really find any pictures that I thought would do a good job of encapsulating the gods of this religion themselves, nor could I find any that kind of connoted the magic that I was hoping to take place at certain religious rituals. But that's just what you get for talking about a more esoteric topic like religion. As always, full credit for these images linked below. None of these are anywhere close to my property. I just thought that they did a good job of illustrating what I was trying to go for in my world building experiment. Alrighty friends, and before we sign off today, I'd like to introduce something that I have neglected to do the last couple of times, but struck me as a good idea. I'm going to grade myself on this little piece of world building and in future ones that I do. Based on my experience as a game host and a world builder, how do I rate this among my other on-the-spot inventions in the past? This particular piece of world building here is one I'm actually quite proud of. I really think it does a good job of taking the focus words and integrating them into a fairly creative and make-sensical setting that does a good job of introducing some spectacular fantasy elements while keeping it grounded and familiar enough to be relatively accessible. So as such, I am going to grade myself with a B+. This is something I can be proud of. I can absolutely do better, but it's a setting that I can absolutely see recycling or using in a game in future. So keep an eye out if in case it comes up on this channel at some point. But that is all the time that we have for today. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you would have done with these focus words, and let me know if you think I succeeded. Do you find this particular religion and the setting and people surrounding it to be a compelling and interesting setup? And can you see it being an interesting part of a game or story that you yourself might enjoy? As always, my name is Robbie Howell, and ciao for now, everyone.